I remember, you know, when my first marriage broke up, and I went through weeks of thinking I can do this and trying to be strong, and I wouldn't cry in front of anyone, and I certainly wouldn't cry in front of the kids. And I remember one day just sitting there when I'd struggled really. I used to drop the boys at school, come home and get straight back into bed and get up when it was time to pick them up from school. And I let that go on for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I thought, no, I need help. I can't do this on my own.
That's actually called duvet diving. It's when you just put yourself under a duvet and just can't face the outside world. And that's all I wanted to do. And actually then I got to a point where I thought, you know what, I need help with this. I'm not strong enough to do this on my own. And I went to my doctor's, NHS doctor, and he put me in touch with a counsellor. And I had counselling over a period of 6 months. The first time I walked in, I was so embarrassed. I'm saying to my friends, what am I going to say to this stranger? She doesn't even know me. I spent the first 25 minutes sobbing before I said one word, and I'd never cried in front of anyone. And then it was just having somebody there who had no preconception of me or so not
shame.
A family member that knew your history.
Not a family member. And all she did was, over a period of time, was she put logic back into my way of thinking, because everything was just out of control. And I never really believed in counselling up until that point. I'd be like, no, you don't need it, you can sort it out. It worked so amazingly for me, and at the end of 6 months, she said to me, you know what, Coleen, she's a lovely Scottish lady, and she said to me, you know what, you don't need me anymore. And she just gave me the strength to do that thing where I needed to just move forward and know that, yes, it was going to be painful, yes, it was going to be hard, but I could have the strength, baby steps, to do it, and it was the best thing I ever did.
So great that you were able to recognise that moment for yourself that you did need help, because I think that's such a hard thing to establish, is that moment where you actually say, I can't do this on my own. I need some support. I need to heal. Can someone help me?
And there is help out there if you ask for it, because myself and Mark were going through quite a rough patch in our marriage a few years ago, and we spoke to family members, but they always take sides and that, so we decided to go to marriage guidance counselling, and it really did help us, because it was actually someone, like, a bit like a referee, that sort of, you know, listening to both sides of the story, and never really judging or anything, but just both getting our points across, and it actually worked, so, you know, it was fantastic.
I feel like the thing is, like, the thing about being American, one thing is there's lots of funny things, but one thing is that we really are a culture of talking about our problems. I think there's definitely
therapists. You have no problem.
I mean, you're practically
saying,
assigned a therapist when you're born.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, and I feel really lucky in that sense, because there seems to be I've noticed a difference. There's more of a British mentality of sweeping things under the rug and not talking about them, and I feel really privileged that, you know, my parents were very open to therapy, and you know, my mom got divorced when I was really young, and when she got remarried and had my half-brother, they put me in therapy to say, listen, there's a transition coming, and, you know, I feel really lucky there was a forum for me to talk about it. I never thought my parents' divorce was my fault. I felt really comfortable with my new family and my brother, and, you know, I think, you know, I haven't been in therapy every year of my life since then, but it's a nice point to check in with, and to you know, we all have obstacles, we all have challenges, and we have moments when we feel low and moments when we feel great, and I think it's important to know that not only is there a system there and a setup to support you, but also that you're never going to be stuck in that one bad feeling. There is always light at the end of the tunnel.
What happens is you don't realise it's happening to you, that you're slipping out of seeing things normally. I think it's a gradual process where small things assume gigantic proportions, and that you get everything all out of kilter, and you don't realise it's happening. It's quite a subtle thing.
Sneaky.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be triggered by splitting up with someone or a death in the family. It might just be happening to you in a small way. I mean, I saw it with my mother. As she got older, she retreated. She stopped answering the phone. She stopped seeing people. She stopped eating. And it was really hard to reach out to her, and probably I was the wrong person as her daughter anyway. But I know a few years back, when I got in this state, a friend, a really, really close friend, wrote me a letter, and he said, you're becoming a total pain in the arse. You've got to get a grip. I mean, I can laugh about it now, and it is quite comical, but it wasn't comical for the people around me. It wasn't comical at all.
And was that the trigger you needed to go to take notice?
Yeah, and then now, if I feel that I can't cope, because to the outside world, I seem like someone who can cope with everything. But of course, that's only a facade.
Which I think it is with a lot of people.
And I want people watching to know that they can pick up a phone and speak to someone, and that's step one. And it shouldn't really necessarily be someone you know. The only way you can talk from the bottom of your heart is an anonymous person.
Yes, it is.
Which is why, you know, if you can't go to counselling or there's none available, because obviously the NHS is really pushed for counsellors, call Samaritans.
Yeah.
And I think every day people should check themselves. I'm not a big fan of the words mental health. I think it's about your looking after yourself, and yourself has to mean everything about you. Everything. Which is why, you know, when you go down this list, like losing interest in your social life, I mean, everybody has a bit of that. It's a combination of the whole
and it's how long it's going on for as well, because you can have, like you said, certain times where that week you're just down about everything, but, you know, if it's going on and on and on and things are getting more and more on you, you've got to, you know, check that list.
And I think it's just really important to acknowledge that being vulnerable is okay, and that it takes
not a
huge strength to admit that you need help. I mean, I think
you and Robbie are well documented.
Yeah,
Robbie's been very honest about his issues.
He's been very honest about it. He's battled addiction and depression, and, you know, I was talking about it with him last night, and he said, I'm not the same person I was. I'm happy. I'm married. I've got kids. You know, there was a moment in his life where he thought life would end and he couldn't exist any further. You know, and it just goes to show you that even as dark as things can seem, that there is a way out. And if you can start the dialogue and you can start to shift in your mind, and you have that support system, whether it's with your friends or therapists or someone that you call at Samaritans, that there is a way to muddle through it and to come to the other side. It's huge. I think it just takes a lot of strength.
Click here for more. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking here, so that you never miss out on the best Loose Women moments.
Get home and you do this, you pull yourself together and you open the front door and smile, because you don't want to burden anybody else,